Okay, so again, thank you very much for joining us for the Google Plus workshop. Again, my name is Andrew Lander, and we're going to be covering three major things. Basically, what Google Plus is. I know you guys already know, but just for the sake of going over it, we're going to go over a little bit of that for a short amount of time. After that, we're going to go into setting up a Google Plus account, and then, which I think we're actually going to skip because you both have Google Plus accounts. And I think what you really want to hear is the last bit of it, which is the Google Plus Hangouts and doing that live. So let's get started. So what is Google Plus? It's pronounced Google Plus. It has a plus sign in front of it when it's spelled in other ways. It's a social networking and identity service that is owned and operated by Google Inc. They've described themselves as a social layer that enhances many of its online properties. So it's not just a social networking website. It's an authorship tool as well, so Google Authorship, and it associates its web content directly with the owner and / author. So are you all familiar with Google Authorship at all? So basically, if you've ever done a Google search, and if you even just right now searched for Google Authorship, if you scroll down, you'll notice that there are faces that appear on the left-hand side of the search results, and they're the faces of the people who have authored that content. What's so great about that is you immediately look at that because you're more likely, studies have found that you're more likely to click on that link because there's a face attached to it, because your brain will think this person must know what she's talking about. She is the author of this content. Even if you don't really know who it is, you figure, okay, well, they spent the time to put that face there. They must be experts. Let me click on it, or at least you'll give them a try. So Google Plus gives you that ability as well. So why is Google Plus so important? It's the second largest social networking site in the world after Facebook. This equates to 540 million monthly active users. In a survey, 92% of smartphone users had visited a Google website or app in August 2013, which means that Google Plus means more impressions, more hits, more clicks, more engagement, and hopefully more leads for you. So how do you get started? To have a Google Plus profile, you have to have a Gmail account. They're married with each other. You have to have one, can't have one without the other. Google has made it so that you can easily have a YouTube account, a Google Drive account, a Google Plus account. Everything that's Google can be you can sign up for this in one easy way, and that's this screen that you're looking at right now, one account, all of Google, and it basically creates for you a Gmail account as well. I just use Gmail. You can technically just sign up for Drive using this and say, well, you need a Google Drive account to have a Gmail account. I go with Gmail because that's the terminology that I'm using, because I know that's usually where I start whenever I go to Google, even if my intent is to use Google Plus. So signing up for Gmail automatically creates Google Plus for you, a profile for you. If you go to gmail.com, you'll see that screen. If you go to plus.google.com, it will also ask you to sign up. So when you do end up creating an account, in the upper right-hand corner, you won't see a picture of you yet if you haven't installed it, or if you haven't uploaded it. But once you do, if you click on it, you can view your profile, and then you can start the process of editing it, putting down all of the websites that you contribute to that's part of the authorship piece, letting the internet and people who are interested in you know what you're all about, where you work, how they can contact you. So again, uploading a professional photo, at the very least 250 by 250 pixels. If you look at that and go, well, I don't know how many pixels or what that actually equates to on my screen, you can do a trial and error and just upload the biggest picture that you have of you. I would make sure to make it a square though, because if you make it a triangle, I'm sorry, not a triangle, but if you make it a rectangle, then eventually, because as you can see, that circle right there kind of encloses the image, it'll ask you to crop it, and you really don't want to have to deal with all the cropping. Maybe you want to get the entire picture in there, so just go with a square. 250 by 250 again is the smallest you can get. So again, you add your contact information, title, where you work, short description about yourself. You might be thinking, well, this sounds like Facebook. I don't really want to get involved with another thing to do to add so much information to people that I don't know. But the thing is, it's not really like Facebook. It's more like a combination of Facebook and LinkedIn. And that's because it keeps you connected with your professional interests and builds your brand by positioning you as an expert in those interests. So real estate, your local farming area, open houses, home staging, things that you're interested in that other people who are within your industry also care about. So it's like LinkedIn in that sense, but it's also like Facebook in that there's a lot of one-to-one interactions. There's a lot of sharing your personal side to let people know who you are, not just a resume. So these icons represent the profile at the very top. Your circles, which are the people that, it's like your friend group within Facebook, or the people that you're connected with in LinkedIn. It's just a different terminology. Photos, you can add photos to it. We're not talking about photos of your dog or of your kids or anything like that, but a little bit more professional. So, you know, stuff about any listings that you have in the area or outside of the area, events that you've attended, like this one. You can snap a picture of me and say that you attended this event. Communities, this one is a bit tricky because just like any community, you don't really want to go in there all salesy, like, hey, I know that you guys are talking about you know, what's great for veterans, but you know, I have a house for sale. You know, no one wants to go into a room and be you know, sold something right away. But just like with Facebook groups, Google Plus has communities like Washington D.C. area communities or veterans communities where you can really reach out to people in a way that makes sense for them. And then there's also Hangouts. And that comes in 3 forms. That's the chat feature, which is literally, you know, if you were around in the 90s and using AIM or MSN Messenger, it's basically that. The second is a one-on-one conversation with the people that are in your chat list through video. So just a straight-up video chat using your computer's camera. And then there's also the live feature, where it's the same as doing a video hangout, only you're using YouTube to make it live. And there's a slight delay by about 20 to 50 seconds depending on your connection, but it's really good if you wanted to do a live open house, or if you really wanted to have a webinar and connect with a group of 10 to, actually it's an unlimited amount of people that can join your live hangout, although only 10 of those people you can actually see on the bottom, and I'll show you that later, but only 10 of those you can actually interact with through video, and that you can talk to them and stuff. Like everyone else will be, they can interact with you and ask questions and stuff like that, but they'll have to do that through chat. So using Google Plus, we talked about your profile. So this is what a profile will look like. You have your cover photo. You also have your profile photo, which again is 250 by 250. The cover photo, I believe, I can't really remember the dimensions, but they do provide cover photos that you can, like template cover photos. So you don't really have to have, you don't have to make one on Photoshop if you're not that adept at Photoshop, but I would just say add one that makes sense. Again, we covered circles. It's just your friend group. It's just another way of saying your friends. What's really great about this is that you can segment your friends. So this person here put, so public is just all of the stuff that's going to be put on your profile that anyone can see, and then the My Peeps and Foodies, those are people, could be a group of 1 or a group of 100, where she segmented those people into particular groups, and you can have person A be in multiple groups if you'd like that to happen. And what's so great about that is you can make it so that if you're going to be posting, let's say, about foreclosures, and you know there's a particular segment of your email list that is interested in foreclosures, whereas others are not, then if you were to create an event, like let's say an open house for a foreclosure, you can tap those people, people interested in foreclosures instead of everyone else. Communities, again, people who are interested in very specific things. I won't lie to you though, when it comes to Google+, communities aren't as vibrant as Facebook groups. I just wanted to point it out that these do exist though, just in case you run across them and you're wondering, okay, what are Google+ communities? I have written down a few communities that are vibrant and do have posts every day that are relevant in this area for real estate. So these two Washington, D.C. communities are very vibrant. Veterans and active duty, as you know, there are a lot of different organizations. I mean, Boeing and Navy Federal Credit Union and lots of different places where there are so many veterans in this area, and there are also many places where veterans can get information about houses and loans and stuff like that. So going in here and tapping a group that has over 90,000 members, and I'll show you later on why this would be a good idea for this in particular, definitely is a good idea. Also, there are tons of wedding communities. These two in particular are very vibrant. People getting married, next comes maybe a baby, perhaps a house. Those are always the next steps. Then there's always the opposite, divorced parents and their kids. Perhaps you get a divorce, you want a new start, so you're looking for a new house. Definitely, that can happen. It happens all the time. And then also the Google+ Pro Tips community, which is more of a people who are using Google+ and they want information from people who have been using it a lot. I like using this because you can ask any sort of question and you'll have someone who maybe not necessarily from Google out in California, but someone who has been using this for a very long time and has been using it quite extensively will be able to give you some information about Google. So these are some really good communities I would recommend joining. Photos, again, we covered that. I think the best way to use photos, they have a photo, I guess what you would call it is a tab on the left-hand side of your Google+ profile where you can store photos and stuff like that. That's that's pretty cool. I would say though that that's more along the lines of Facebook, and I know on Facebook, me personally, I like storing my photos in different albums, but for Google+, if I were to use it professionally, then my suggestion is to make your status update, and if we go back, as you saw with circles, this person right here is they're writing a status update. So I would put that photo directly in the status update, and that's how I would use photos. And then afterwards going and making an album for specific types of photos. So for example, on a daily basis, I will make posts about different listings. So I'll say something along the lines of, oh, this deck is really great for grilling, #Memorial Day. Or I'll make a post where I'll go on Photoshop, I'll take 2 photos, and they'll be of 2 kitchens, both with islands. One will have an island with a stovetop on it, and one will have an island without a stovetop, but it's a little bit bigger. And then I'll put them together, I'll put a black line underneath, and on the sides I'll put A and B, and I'll say, hey, with stovetop, without stovetop, which kitchen island, #kitchen island, do you prefer? And then people say A, B, or something like that. So I would post that in there, and then later on I would stick it to an album that says, kitchen choices, or A or B, or something like that. So those are photos. Now going to Hangouts. As I said before, there are 3 types of Hangouts. You have your Hangouts, which it's just chatting, and I should mention that you have to download an add-on once you start using Hangouts. So if you say, hey, I want to use Hangouts, and you get prompted to download something, it's A-OK, because you have to tell Google that you would like it to activate your camera, because that's really the only way that you can do it. But the first way is just chatting. Because the chat feature is bundled with the video feature, they ask you to do that. So you have your chat feature, that's the first way, which is just typing, just like AIM back in the 90s. You have your video feature, which is just one-on-one, so it's not like Skype where you can have a bunch of people on there, but it's mainly just a one-on-one conversation visually with your contacts. And then number 3 is the live feature, where you can have a webinar with an unlimited number of people, where it's connected through YouTube. You have folks that do real estate like yourselves, who bring people along with them to their open houses, or even their guides through a house. Now, I would recommend, if you're going to do a kind of visual guide through a house that's live, I would make sure that you have a good enough camera where you have some sort of stabilization feature, so that people aren't just going up and down and they're getting dizzy, and then they'll cut right out because they don't want to see it. But if you're going to do an open house, then I would recommend getting a camera that a video camera that's HD, so that's 720 or 1080p for the specifications. Get a tripod, set it up in the corner, and then as people come in, it'll videotape that. And actually, let me back up. If you're going to do it live and you do it from a computer, you can just set up your laptop and then kind of face it towards the event itself, or you can set up your iPad and position it towards the event itself, so that people who are watching can see that there's a lot of people coming in, and there's a lot of activity for your listing.
How does that go on to Google Plus?
That goes on to Google Plus. You can send it out to people before it happens, just like a constant contact event. So, and we'll go through that process where you create the event, you send it out to a group of email or an email list, and then once they get that email, it's really cool because you can make it so that it doesn't just say, okay, this will start on Friday. You can actually add a trailer to it, so you can do like an informational sort of 5-second, hey, this is Andrew, thanks so much for attending this event, we hope to see you, and here's what we're going to be, this house has 5 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, it was built in 1984, blah blah blah, we hope to see you there, it's going to be great. And they'll be able to get that and soak that in before it actually happens to get them excited.
It's an invitation.
Exactly. Exactly. So, connecting Google Plus with your brand. I know at Avery Hess, we've created different pages, office pages for our offices, because there's a difference between having a personal Google Plus page and then having a local business page, because we like to keep things local, but also all together in one company. We've set up these separate pages that represent, it represents the Lake Ridge office, it represents the Front Royal office, it represents the Tyson's Corner office. So if you go to each one, they're all very unique in the different pictures that they have, the different agents that are featured. This should give you an idea of what you may want to do for your own brand. As the digital marketing coordinator, I also specialize in search engine optimization, which is something that you talked about. What I've found is that the more local you are, the more hyper local you are, the more search engines are going to pay attention to you, because as you know, when someone goes on a website and they do a search for homes, what do you think is more likely? That they're going to search for 123 Any Place Way, or they're going to search for Woodbridge, Virginia? Exactly. That's exactly the answer. They search for Woodbridge, Virginia because they want to narrow it. They don't want to narrow it down too much, but they know, okay, I like Woodbridge. Let me see what homes are there. Because, I mean, the chances of them knowing a specific address it's going to be very, very thin. So keeping it very local is great for search engines. It's also great for building your brand so that people know, where you are. Have you sold homes in Woodbridge? Have you sold homes in other parts of Northern Virginia? So it helps you stand out. It lets people know about your local knowledge. And it also promotes community engagement. So this is just an example of of our Fredericksburg page and what that looks like. It's got our logo as a profile picture. It has the cover photo. This, along with your personal Google Plus profile, it makes it very strong because you can do stuff like this where you can make it a whole album. If you're on Google Plus and you wanted to direct people from your personal Google Plus page to this sort of business page, it just makes it a lot easier for that transition. So as I mentioned before, some communities are very active. We went through some of the ones that are very active. This one is the veterans community, and you might think, okay, how do I leverage being involved in a community to turning into a lead? Now I should emphasize that, as I said before, social media, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that it's going to, lead you directly to someone who's, going to say, I used Google Plus, I found you, and I bought a house because of you the very next day. It's more of a top level, get people interested in what it is you're offering until you get them down that funnel into the actual dollars and cents where they go, okay, we've connected on Facebook, we've connected on Google Plus, I know what you're about, now I'm interested to hear about the different homes that you're involved with. But this post, which happened on March 2nd, and I know it's really small, but I'll read it. It says, hi, I'm a vet and just looking to join the community. Also need a home for me and my family real bad. This was March 2nd of 2014. There was no one that, let's see, Veterans United, who I believe is the moderator of this page, answered the question with, go ahead and call out mortgage specialists at 1-800 VA loans. And then someone says, I'll pray for you that they get your home, blah, blah, blah. But just imagine if you were involved in this community and you saw this and you were the first one to respond. I mean, I said it before that, you don't want to go into a community, like you don't ever want to go into a physical room and like start selling people stuff unless they really, really ask for it. This person really, really asked for it. And I'm not saying this happens all the time. This is a very rare case, but the opportunity is definitely there in all of these communities. So, as we talked about before, the ultimate agent is someone who is being very visual all the time because the internet is all about the visual. We talked about the live Hangouts, so some of the ideas that come along with the video Hangouts are hosting real estate webinars, hosting virtual open houses, which we talked about before, automatically publishing these videos to YouTube. And I keep saying YouTube because Google is the #1 search engine in the world. YouTube, #2. Google owns YouTube. YouTube is friends with Google's. They're buddies, they're pals. If you're going to be using the most powerful tool and the most powerful, or the second most powerful social network, then you might as well marry the two and make sure that you're getting all of that internet juice. Because, I mean, let's face it, people are using Google to search. Yes, they're using Bing. Yes, they're using Yahoo. And for every time you tell someone, hey, people search on Google, you're going to get, 1 or 2 people who say, well, I use Bing too, or I use Yahoo. But if you look at the numbers, the majority, the big player, the big kahuna is going to be Google, because that's what people are using. Again, number 1 and number 2, those are the numbers. So this is an example of a live Google Hangout, where you have the founder of SyriaDeeply.org, who is talking to other folks who are interested in what she does. Just imagine if this was you and you were talking to people who are interested in a home. Maybe it's someone who is active duty, who's overseas, and you have them in one square, and then you have their husband or wife who's here in this area also talking with you as well, so that you can all communicate at the same time, even if you're miles and miles away. That wouldn't be something that you'd want to make live, but it would be great for that second thing that we talked about, which is just the hangout between 1 or 2 people. The types of things that I like to post, beautiful homes, bargain homes, reduced price homes, gotta have it homes. Think of the person who's sitting back watching HGTV, love it or list it, and they love seeing the beautiful crown molding and all that stuff. Those are the types of things that people really want to look at. The types of posts. So this one was out in front of Royal. It was a good buy of the week. So it was a home that was $169,900, 3-bed, 2-bath, just giving basic information about it and encouraging people to click on the link so that they can find out more. Ask yourself these questions when you do posts. What do you know about the community? Where is your expertise? How are you showing people that that about the places where they're eventually going to be living? What are you doing to give back to the community? Is there an event that you frequent? Is there a charity that you support in the area that would get people? Of course, you're doing it very altruistically, but it's all part of who you are and what you represent. So it's all part of your branding as well. Not to seem evil about it, but telling people about what it is that you're doing, so that people will go, hey, that this person really cares. They're really involved in a particular charity, and maybe it's a charity that they care about. It's definitely something that's worth mentioning as well in your posts. For example, we at Avery Hess do Teal for Good, where we have these teal scarves. People purchase it for $10, and then the proceeds go to local charities. So we have 7 different charities for our 7 offices. Again, we like to keep things very hyper local. We'll post about it, and we'll put a hashtag on there so it makes it easily searchable. So, for example, we wrote a blog piece on our blog site, and I made sure that our agent in Centerville got credit for it. So, using Google, and she uses Google Authorship as well. So we made it so that if someone were to search for Teal for Good in Centerville, or I believe Brain Foundation in Centerville, then something like this would pop up, because we're posting it on Google Plus. We're using Google Authorship so that people can see her face like this when it pops up. So again, it's consumer facing, but also agent facing. So some of the posts that you make, think about this in your head when you're making these posts. Why should an agent join your office? Is it because it's fun? Is it because you guys do things a certain way? What makes you unique as an office? And again, I'm mentioning Google Places because it ties into to Google Plus. Is your pool of agents better than the competition? How do you show that? Will I be among the top thought leaders and producers in the industry? Again, that goes back to community knowledge and just knowledge in general. We like to, whenever we get a new agent, we like to, welcome them to the company on Google Plus. It's great because, if they're, on Google Places. It's great because if they are also on using Google Plus, then it's just easier for them to share this with their circles, and also they can connect with the office page. So if they hit follow this page, then if someone goes to this particular office, the Springfield office, then it'll show that this agent is following the page and will be followed back, which is just a nice little bit of advertising. So again, like I said before, office character, what makes your office special? Am I going to be surrounded by people who are a pleasure to work with? Will I be recognized for my hard work? Fredericksburg, again, they every now and again they'll have like something going on. I mean, there was a Mardi Gras thing, and there was also like a St. Patty's thing. Everyone has a thing. So key takeaways: join Google Plus by creating a Gmail account. I think that's the easiest way. Just go on gmail.com. That way, not only are you creating a Plus account, but you're also setting yourself up with, in my opinion, the best email that you could have. I've used Yahoo. I've used Hotmail, MSN. I even used one called foremail.com back in like '98. That was the first email address that I had. It was terrible. And to be honest, this is the best one. Lots of storage. It gives you the ability to access not just Gmail, but Google Plus and Drive and a whole bunch of other things.
Very little spam.
Exactly. Any spam that you do get, it's put right in that spam box immediately. Upload a professional photo. I would treat it like LinkedIn in this sense. So, if you're going to, I would say if you're going to make one for, well, by show of hands, how many people have more than one Google Plus profile? Okay, so it's just one.
Business.
Yeah, like, do you have a business one as well?
Exactly.
Okay.
Well as
So I would say if you're going to have a business one,
logo.
Yeah.
That's what I-
so that's, just like the Avery Hess one, you can have a logo on there, just have like a very professional one, kind of like LinkedIn. If it's, if you're just going to have one, then, just make it as, like I said, it's a combination between Facebook and LinkedIn, so casual, I guess, would be casual attire. I think mine, it's a dopey picture of me and like a button down. But, I would also say, my audience is more of a marketing tech audience. So people like dopey button downs in the tech sphere. Connect with people who share your interests. Real estate. Open houses. New agent forums. I'm sure there are many more that you guys can think of off the top of your head. Keep your profile active. Very important. People see that you're getting behind on your posts. One really good way to keep active, as you mentioned, Hootsuite. So Hootsuite.com, it allows you to schedule out posts. Particularly, this is great on Google Plus because unlike Facebook, you cannot schedule posts on Google Plus, which is unfortunate. But if you use Hootsuite, they give you the ability to schedule things out weeks, months in advance, which is really, really good. So, if you came across something like maybe you got an Inman News or RIS Media email, and you're like, man, there's a lot of good articles in here. I want to share them, within your circle. And there are 5 of them. Spread them out. You got the whole week. Now, you don't have to make a post every day. It could be every other day. But I would say at the very least once a week. And if you're going to make a post once a week, I'd make it a good post. And I always think about it like this. If you're going to make a post on social media, and we talked about some of the ways you can post before, think about it like this. If a 8-year-old kid in his underpants at home eating Cheetos can make the same post that you just made, I would rethink about what you're posting. For example, if I wanted to post something about a listing that I just made, or a listing that I have, right? And I said, okay, I know the details of this home. It's got 5 bedrooms, 3 baths. I know how much it is. And I just, wrote it out and sent it along. Anybody can do that. Is there a picture there? Is there a link there? Is there a hashtag there? Pepper it in. Give me some spice. Don't give me something that's bland, because that's what people interact with and that's what people want to see. Now, there are occasions where, like I follow like the Washington Redskins or TechCrunch or other places like that on Facebook. And sometimes they'll make a post that it's just a sentence and that's it. And they'll have a ridiculous amount of shares and a ridiculous amount of likes and stuff like that. It's usually a question. It's usually a question that they know is going to incite some sort of discussion. So if it's something that that your audience will find very insightful and will react to, then I would say that, even though it's very simple, goes a bit above, underpants and Cheetos. Now, keep your office page active. I would ask your marketing departments, about the office page and how they can leverage that. So even if you may not be keeping it active, but you can ask them what's going on with it, and if you have your own business page, keeping that active as well. Get involved in the community. We talked about that before. Multiply your presence with video. And just as your mom told you, be yourself. Because if you're anybody else, people are gonna see that, they're gonna suspect it, and they're gonna go. They won't say it. They'll just nod off and fizzle away and not really talk. But if they see that what we talked about before, you have that character with charities or the communities that you're involved with, and the videos and the pictures, then they will get that full picture of who you are from your profile.